Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another session of Ask Zak with myself, Zak, and my trusted colleague, Sean.
Well, good evening, Lochani Kunjani, and welcome back.
Now, tonight we're looking at a very interesting subject, and we get that the question a lot is, which is better, free range or caged layers? Now, unfortunately, there is no clear answer about that. There's quite a few things that play a role. But what we want to do tonight is just talk about the differences, tell you about it so that you can see what fits you the best. So first and foremost is, of course, the housing, where they are going to stay. So both of them are staying in a building, but the main difference is free range are walking on the floor on shavings, and your battery cage or your cage layers are, of course, in batteries in those A-frames. So the quantity of birds that you can keep inside a house with your cage setup is much more. When you look at your free range setup, you don't want to keep more than, let's say, 6, maximum 7 layers per square meter. And of course, just to bring in, you look at your equipment costs with your battery, your initial setup cost is much higher. But yeah, you will talk, Sean, you're going to touch on the production rates now. But what is important is the equipment for your free range. You need to take into account, you're going to have to put in feeders, you're going to have to put in drinkers, and of course nest boxes. So they are very, very important in your basic setup. So that's your biggest thing, is if you've got space and the amount of animals you want to put in it, in your house, that's going to determine whether you're going to go free range or caged. But now, let's say we've got the housing done. Sean, how does the feeding differ between the two?
Well, Zak, very key, very important. We at also have the saying, please feed the correct feed at the correct time. So for our layers, we have what we call a laying mesh 95 and a laying mesh 105. The laying mesh 195 is made for young birds from 18 weeks till about 36 weeks. Within that range, we're feeding them that type of feed because that type of feed is made to help them grow and lay eggs at the same time. So, and then from 36 weeks onwards, you can start giving them laying mesh 105 because their weight and age says that they've grown out, they don't need to grow now. Now we're maintaining and making sure that they're in good condition at all times, and then they're giving us eggs at all times. But then, however, you need to pay attention to how much you're giving to your chickens, to your layers. So in caged form, we always recommend on a basis that they must get 115 grams per layer per day. So you just need to calculate that out so you can work out how much in kilograms you need to feed your chickens on a daily basis. However, because your free range are moving up and down, they use a little bit more energy. They're a little bit more agile. They're like your dog that eats too much and then just runs around every now and then. But then we need to keep up with that, running around and walking around and looking for food. At the same time, make sure that they have enough feed to make us some eggs. So we add an extra 10 grams, so 125 grams for your free range, 115 grams for your caged birds, so that we can cover our corners. One of the other important things is that there is texture. There is different types of your feed. In terms, it comes in mesh, pellets, and or crumbs. So you need to choose the right texture for your layers. So we always recommend mesh in terms of caged birds, because caged birds are in a small space, so we need to keep them busy all the time so they don't get bored. So we give them mesh. It takes them a little bit time to finish off the mesh. So give them mesh if they're in cages, and then we recommend pellets if they're free range. Free range because they play around with feed. We don't want them to take out the mesh and waste the mesh. So they get one pellet, gives them more energy, gives them more feed per time. So one pack gives them 15 packs of mesh. So always remember, feed the correct feed, the correct texture at the correct time. This, as Zak said, unfortunately there is no ruler that says it's from 1 centimeter to 30 centimeters. It's dependent on your area, your farm, and all sorts of different situations you are exposed to. And of course, always remember that you need to ask for help if you have problems.
Now, another thing is, when we talk about them, is we talk about our production rate, and there's a clear difference between the two. So if you want the eggs coming high volumes, you've got a very big market, you need to be in high production, you're going to look at your batteries or your cage layers. Your cage layers, your laying percentage, what you're aiming for is 90% and above. When you go below that, you're in trouble. There's something wrong with your management, so you need to go back to the books and make sure you're doing everything correctly. with your free range, as Sean mentioned, they're busy animals. They expend a little bit more energy, and of course that influences their production. And their production, your target production with your free range setup would be roughly 85%. At the end of the day, that's your targets that you're aiming for. And what's important is, if you're not there, you need to start asking questions, because even with your batteries or any setup like that, if you're below those targets, you're not making money. And that is what's important, because you're running a business. You need to buy the feed, you need to sell the eggs, but the money needs to be there, and that's why it's very important. So I would say, you're going to go into the markets just now, and Sean, which markets, how do we handle that part? Where do I negotiate my selling points?
Well, very key, guys. Very key is as simple as this. Just like I said earlier, there is no ruler. The ruler is dependent on what you can get and what you can give in terms of finances, what you need to start, and what. So at the end of the day, when you start the business, you need to be aware of the market that you want to cater for. We have organic people who make organic eggs from their free range. That means you're looking at a better price per egg. So that means you're lots and lots of eggs. You're not looking at lots and lots of eggs. You're just looking at good quality eggs, because you get a better price per egg. But then if you're looking for caged birds, then we're aiming at lots and lots of eggs at the point, so the price comes from the lots and lots of eggs. So the advantages and disadvantages around it is that you just need to pay attention to who is your market. Your market, do they want lots of eggs? If they want lots of eggs, suggestion is go for the caged. If they want to niche very clean organic eggs, go for the free range. But then at the end of the day, this is a business. Whether you've got it all under control, you've chosen the right market. You as a farmer or as a business person, you need to manage your system so that it works for you. So just because you've chosen the right market doesn't mean you can sit back and just throw them some feed and throw them some water. You still need to manage. You still need to manage their housing. You still need, like Zach said, you still need to manage their drinking, what kind of water they get, the medication. So it's very key. Just because we've sorted out the market, just because we found the money, doesn't mean we need to sit back and relax. We need to maintain that money.
So no, from our side, there's a lot of information. Unfortunately, we couldn't answer your question with, which is better, but what we can do, and that's what the technical advisors like Sean is there for, is to answer your questions. And at the end of the day, you shape your farm and your farming practices around your capabilities, your resources, and of course your needs and your customers' needs. So there is no clear-cut way, and you're going to have to sit down and see what you need. But for more information, the team is always busy. Sean, you guys have, this week you've got Farmers Days, Information Days. What's happening?
Well, this week we have Farmers Days in Carolina in Afrikaans. In English they say Carolina. So, and in Witbank of Witbank. So these information days or farmers days are broilers and layer information days. So come in numbers and come and learn with us. Come and teach us so we can teach each other, so we can grow the system. And then obviously this is made to make sure that you stay afloat, so we can stay afloat. And when I stay afloat, you are happy. And when you're happy, I'm more than happy. And I can come to work on a daily basis with a smile on my face. So very key, remember to book a space. Call into the depot, make sure that you book a space so that it can keep a space, and we keep you a seat for you, and then we can enjoy the day as much as we can. So from my side, until next week, have a good day. And with the 4-hour poultry farmers, unfortunately you've got a little bit of a boring system going there, because you have to do everything exactly the same each and every day, day in, night out, every day. But consistency is your big winner there. If you can be constant and decisive with your products, you're going to win. But from my side, have a good evening. Wonderful. From my side also, have a good one, and thank you very much.